Reconnecting with some of your allies, you discovered that you lost 4 days between entering the strange glade of blue fog and leaving it. Before you could talk much with your allies, a terrible, wailing howl echoed through the jungle, and magical rifts of green, crackling energy opened up all around you. These rifts zapped several of your allies away until only a few of you remained, and you were forced to fight off humanoid vine creatures. Osint and Killen escaped this area with Father Raoul, leaving Sorsinius, Lucius Otho, and Ivy to fight off the horde. Everyone else was zapped away, including your ally Luminous. Accessing the ability that the Coven Eye gave him access to, Osint focused his attention to find where the others had been taken. He discovered them deep underground in a viscous, slow-moving river of purple paralytic sludge. Killen also used his ability to speak with the land to determine that the rifts are part of the landscape and serve it as a way in which it feeds itself. He made a deal with the strange landscape. If they feed it what it wants, specifically a dragon, it will release their allies. It also used aspects of the landscape to start pointing the way toward exactly where it wants them to go. Luminous, you're floating in this viscous purple liquid and you cannot move. Your eyes are open. You can dart them around. The only light in this area, in this dark cavern, is coming from your hair as it glows its blue flame. You see the others around you floating likewise. Bilus Vorus, the Redcap, Gom, the Fungal Folk, Otago, the Drawn, Sharam, Amir, Thimen, and Carlos. As you are all slowly, very slowly, being carried away by this stuff. You were zapped away by this green energy into these rifts and then ended up here. And you struggled a little bit when you first got in here, but realized that as this liquid is touching your skin, it's having a paralytic effect on you. As you're considering this, the second time that you've experienced this paralysis of any sort here while you're on the island, and your mind, of course, returns back to Terta, who remains paralyzed outside the island. You feel somewhat defeated here, but you think that perhaps if you could just muster up enough strength, you could fight this. There are little ledges along the edge of this space. You can see that if you could just manage to fight through this paralysis, you could get there. You could try to save some of your allies, whatever you want. But if you want to try to fight it, you can make either a body roll or a spirit roll.
I'll make a spirit roll.
All right.
I got a 3.
Okay.
Would you like me to re-roll?
Would you like to re-roll?
Kind of feels like I should re-roll, but I don't know if I need it. We'll need it. I got a question. In the new system, do the skill points reset after battle?
They reset after a rest. So you'll have to rest for 8 hours to get your skill points back, unless you get them in the midst of battle as a result of those special circumstances.
I know I'm going to need higher, but I don't know if it's worth using one of my skill points or not. What would Osen and Killian do in this situation? Or Jackson and Harris? What would you do in outside of the space, as we were 2 episodes ago?
Didn't think about this, but if you can think of a way that you could try to use any of your abilities, I'll also allow you to think in that direction.
I mean, can I see anything around me, or is it just the green?
Yeah, you can see that you're basically in a cave. Your eyes darting around. You're looking straight up. You're moving so slowly that it's kind of just painful how slowly you're moving.
Can I feel like how far away everything is from me?
Your sense of sensation has pretty much gone completely.
So I can't tell if how far away it is. It's like a thought is I could use my teleportation to see if it's like it just this field like immediately around me, and then like leave it.
Good try.
Teleportation is not technically a physical ability, so that shouldn't be paralyzed.
Yeah, that's what my thought
Good
was.
try.
Sure, I will try.
All right. So as you try to muster your capacity to use this teleportation, just by thought, you have difficulty there. And then you remember in your studies that even the way in which you are impacted by the nature of magic in the world, it does require that you have developed a particular almost in the way that you interact with the world physically, your nerves moving in certain directions, you using hand gestures. When you first started learning how to use magic, you had to rely on hand gestures to make geometric patterns. Eventually you got to the point that your brain took care of those things without you actually having to somatically do this, but it still requires some kind of, as you understand it, based on one of the prevalent theories in the academic spheres, it requires a somewhat of an intentional use of your bioelectricity to make sure that these things occur. So it's still using your nervous system, just in a way that's unusual compared to interacting with the physical world. So you, as you're doing this, you can attempt this by trying to make a mind or a spirit roll.
I'll make a like a spirit roll.
How?
I got a 6.
You, purely by your force of will and imagining what you want, you dig into that. Out of the two ways that you learned how to do magic, one was very cerebral and one was very meditative. And as you lock into the meditative way of doing so, you end up over on the edge of this platform, this sort of stony, slick ground. But you get there, and the sludge starts dripping off of you, and the sludge even just sort of almost seems to have a mind of its own as it's dripping off and then trying to crawl back. This purple, icky stuff crawl back toward this this river of sludge. And after a few minutes, you start to feel your hands start to tingle, and you feel the sensation coming back, and you see the rest of your companions floating down a little ways from there. What do you do?
I mean, I want to try to get him out. I'm just not sure how to do it. Because, like, I don't know if the teleportation would work. If I went in there to teleport, I might be stuck again and have to do the mind roll or spirit roll over and over again.
Acting is the sludge.
When you first dropped in, you had some time to struggle, and it was maybe about 30 seconds that you started to feel like you weren't able to move.
You got enough time.
There's that option. I also was curious, like, is it possible where I could just like burn it and just all disintegrates and everybody's fine and I don't kill anyone? Or like,
do you want to
it's
try
actually chemically identical to napalm, so
I don't care how small the room is. I cast fireball.
Yeah, that was what I was worried. Your reaction, I don't want to kill everyone, so I'll. Who'd you say is there with me?
Vilas Voris, Gom, Otago, Carlos, Sharam, Amir, Thimon.
All right.
I mean, half of those people.
I wanna go for Sharam.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
I want to go for Sharam because I think he also has a teleportation ability,
All right.
and
Yeah.
maybe we can double team this and get in and out.
So thinking about who you want to get, you make a critical decision, critical thinking decision. Get Sharam, bring him back out, and the sludge reacts in the same way. It's like it wants to be part of the river.
Yeah.
It drops off of you, continues to go. He starts to come to, and your idea comes to fruition as he says, let's get everybody else, and you start doing this. He goes for Thimin, hoping that maybe Thimin has some teleportation. Doesn't work out that way exactly, but at the end, everybody is back on Otago, Carlos, Thimin, Sharam, Amir, and then at the very end, Otago. I'm sorry, Carlo. No, yeah, Otago says it's just the two witchblades. They weren't exactly friendly, and they forced us into this situation in the first place. Is it? I have no quarrel with getting them, but I want to make sure we all understand what we're getting into, because technically this could solve one of our problems if we have two less to contend with later.
Does anybody else speak up, or is it just everybody looking at me?
Carlos doesn't say anything there. He has no particular interest in saving the Witchblades, and Amir doesn't either. But Sharam says that may be true, but it would not do us well to start making more enemies than already we have here. And Thimin doesn't seem to have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, I think my response is something along the lines of, just in good conscience, I can't leave somebody here to perish when I have the ability to save them, regardless if I'm close to them or not.
Right. So you work together, Shram, get those two, and gain a spirit point, by the way. All right.
Does that put me, so I just add a 6?
It can't go over your max. Your max number is on the bottom row.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if I think I'm supposed to be at that.
So
yeah,
you should be. Let me look at you.
I think I should be at 11 because I attempted the roll with the 3, and then
that's right.
go on the re-roll, and then I did
I
got the 6. So
I
forgot to delete one of them.
So as you guys end up there and you look around, you realize you have no idea where you are. There is no exit out of here that you can see. You're just in this long cave system that you barely have any space on the ledge you're on, and the only directions that there's anything are through the sludge in these two directions.
Can I, you said it's sludge on either directions, like the sludge we just came out of?
Yes.
Can I just shoot one of them with a fire blast and see what happens if we're far enough back?
So you're about, the furthest you can get is like 10 feet away from the bank of this.
Well, I don't think we really want to go back through it, is the problem. Is it just paralyzed all of us? And you said there's no other way out besides going through the stuff.
That's what it looks like.
How's it going?
But as you're there considering that with your allies, return to the surface where Osins and Killen, you guys are following this trail that is being, the landscape itself, this is the most use you've ever gotten out of speaking with the landscape, Killen. It is, the trees are pointing you in the direction that you need to go. They're moving, vines are moving out of the way as you guys are going forward, and you are with Father Raoul.
Radical man.
And Father Raoul obviously is concerned not only with the fact that he cares about Carlos and knows that you're trying to save everybody, but he has a particular interest in saving Carlos. But also, he seems like he's potentially also a little worried about the revelations that came to pass through Osint trying to find Carlos in the way that he did, and the things that Osint witnessed. But as you continue on, you hear the And do you guys do anything in particular as you're going onward?
I'm pretty dead focused on finding this dragon in order to get Luminous back.
Yeah,
Right.
And I
I'm
can't
ignoring the Earth's growling stomach because I know what it wants already. So yeah, I keep on trucking through here.
All right.
So
Is Owlbear supposed to show anything at this point?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I just had a quick question. So
Yes.
we're only supposed to have 9 abilities now versus the 11 we had previously.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Or 12, yeah.
So
RIP to my Magna Blast.
yeah, that's one that doesn't actually exist right now because I couldn't figure out the exact mechanic I wanted to use for it.
Fair. I was just wondering because I was thinking about my environmental adaptation ability that I had previously.
Gotcha. All right, let me pull Raul in, and then all right. So you guys, let me cut out this portion of the thing. And obviously, Luminous' token is there, but he's not here. Okay, I'll sync the view. Oops. Reset my Owlbear, and I should be good. Every once in a while, I'll like accidentally select all in Owlbear, and then I can't get the highlight to go away from the entire screen without refreshing the screen. So, can you guys see Owlbear now?
Yes.
Perfect.
Oops.
So you guys end up finding this space where suddenly it this rumbling voice that you've been attuned to, Kellen, says,
I can't go past here. But bring me the dragon. You get all your friends back. Maybe I give you one as insurance.
and Luminous, as you're considering what to do, one of those rifts opens up down exactly where you are, and then zaps you.
The others later.
So all of a sudden, Luminous, you're out in the jungle again. And you look around. Father Raoul, Osint, Killen are here. And
What's up, homies?
Yo, where you been?
I was in a cave. I don't know how I got here. I was with the others, and we were in this weird goopy stuff that paralyzed us. It was weird.
Yeah, that was like the Earth's stomach, and we are trying to get a dragon defeated instead of y'all. You in?
Did you say a dragon?
I said a dragon.
Sick.
I mean, if we have Luminous back, do we need the...
you say that in front of Raoul.
Oh, Raul, I forgot you were here. Apologies. Let us
We have
go
other
defeat this
allies
dragon.
that we need to help.
You're like, hey, problem solved.
Forgetting
The
that.
4 of us is all we need, right?
I'm very eager to get our allies back. It looks like it's suggesting that we cross this space.
Yeah, he says that, or he being, the Earth, says that he cannot go any farther down this path with us. I don't know if he can't cross the river or if there's a territorial difference here, but we are on our own.
Right. They do seem to be territories of sorts.
Is this a territorial difference? Are we going into a new hexagon on the map?
So in this case, you'll just be on the in this space. You won't necessarily be in a different hexagon.
Okay.
But yeah,
thank you for the follow.
Father, I will
appreciate you.
Well, I'll go forward first. If I'll gladly go.
Thankfully, 4 people fighting a dragon is much better than the odds of 3. Good to have you back, Luminous.
Good to be back.
Fair share
Kind of
of
crazy.
big monsters. I agree with that statement.
You can
So we'll just
give me control of the.
Yes, that should do that.
Grab my token.
Let me make sure that I got everybody's control given. Thanks for
Oh,
the reminder.
I was gonna ask outside of it. Did you say we could change some of the? Were we able to change some of those 9 that you said that you had given me? This is something that I had previously, or do you want me to use these 9?
You can use those, or as your even as you're like, it's not your turn in battle. Whatever you want to do, you can look through some other things.
Because I'm like, do I really want bulwark, or do I want to go bring back environmental adaptation and just be able to avoid everything? Because like, if I had that, couldn't I have just theoretically just gone through all the stuff because it wouldn't have affected me?
Maybe, but you'd have to see how environmental adaptation works now.
Collect a couple of these mushrooms as we go across.
Okay, yeah, you can take some of those.
I'll have to think on it.
All right, so you guys.
Oh, and wait for me. Sorry, I was distracted
over
with my
this.
ADHD.
There's immediately, as soon as you get across about the halfway point of the bridge of this sort of fungal infested, fallen large trunk, it's another instance, you felt this before, where the atmosphere just completely changes. It's like you step into a space where it's hard to tell. Is it the lack of breeze, a difference in the wind direction, an immediate temperature change, maybe a combination of all of these, but it immediately feels different. And you've had a lot of that as you've explored the island. And it seems like there's something going on with that, but you can't quite put your finger on it. But as you move forward, let me get rid of this.
Are there still general forest noises going on?
Yeah, they're very subtle and light, but actually here you do hear insects more than you have in most other places, which is, in almost the entire time you've been here, you haven't really heard a lot of birds or bugs or anything.
Then that probably makes me a little bit more comfortable than I have been.
All right. So as you guys move forward, you start approaching this space, and as you push through some vines, you suddenly see this very large stone courtyard of sorts.
Ooh.
And it has several staircases leading up, and you're stepping in very shallow water with little lilies, and they're sort of warm glow of yellow fireflies everywhere here. And it's somewhat brightly lit compared to most of the places you've been. Up ahead, you see something very similar to what you've seen before. There are these 2 statues standing, pointing toward this door. They look extremely similar to the statues with the gemstones embedded in the faces that you saw in the glade. They're just much bigger.
In what glade?
In the
dream glade.
In the glade that you guys don't remember anything that actually happened, except for getting some good memories.
Don't remember statues being there.
But ones that were dancing around.
But as you see them, they're pointing at this very large stone door with this sort of mosaic face on it of multiple pieces. It is a humongous door. And it's about 45 feet tall.
This is bad news, guys. When I heard dragon, I thought like wild beast. This is some god dragon's domain, I think.
Does not look like any dragon's lair that I've ever heard of, to be sure.
Yeah, this is not going to be what we thought it was. As is always the case on this island, I don't know why I keep thinking it's going to be easy.
But I must admit, I find this a comforting place to be, if not for the fact that we know that this is certainly going to be perilous.
Maybe it's like this thing I read called the Dancing Dragon, where it's actually nice. Probably not, but I can hope, right?
You
You
come down
dance,
singing,
we'll
"Hello, my
fight."
baby."
I mean, we have to deal with the fact that if we are coming to meet a sentient dragon being and not just a wild creature, can we feed it to the earth?
Perhaps if it's sentient, we can reason with it.
Oh yeah, we'll reason it into the belly of the earth.
We don't know the nature.
For people you don't
Can
know.
we invite you to dinner?
We don't know
Wait,
the
so why
nature
did-
of this creature, so perhaps it has
So-
another solution to our problem.
So
Let's hope it's evil. Let's go.
I was gonna say, so this we have to feed this so that it Earth doesn't eat the people that were left.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
trading the dragon for y'all.
Well, this is
All right.
unfortunate.
I'm walking up the
Hello, my
staircase.
baby. Hello, my darling.
Right. You step up. There's almost this pleasant chiming ring sound to the way that your steps hit the stones. It's like everything here is oddly pleasant compared to everything you've experienced before. The chill that you've experienced in the... Are you guys just running around?
It's like
The
we were
chill
that
just
you-
running up and down the stairs because it's so
The chill
nice.
that you've been feeling in the jungle environment, the darkness, and this overshrouding, terrible nature of the place. It's just dissipated. This is warm and inviting, save for the very
Maybe-
large, terrifying figure on the door.
Luminous is pacing back and forth because he's anxious
I
and has ADHD, but we already knew that.
Osen is just kind of standing here taking this all in because it reminds him of like almost like a grand city of where he came from.
Now that he's got his memories back, I'm sure that actually could be very interesting. In fact,
Wait, when did
tell
you
me,
get your memories back?
as Ozen has started to be able to remember his childhood and other little things that are coming to him that were lost when he was so lost in the hellscapes that he's been in. What is something that he's remembering based on what he's experiencing right now and looking at this place?
It almost reminds him of in the cities that he grew up in with the overgrown trees, the nature surrounding like the man-made structures. There was a market in that city that he would visit as a child, and there were people with purveyors of different trades lined up along the streets, and it was just this beautiful marketplace that people went to buy their goods.
Very nice. Right.
Besides the creepy door.
You guys will go around. Osen, Killen, you've gotten pretty close to the door as your footsteps all the way up. But you look at the large statues. They're 5, 10, 15, 20 feet high each. They're these sort of slightly... there's a shimmer to them just from the light, but so they almost look like they're glowing but you know it's just because there's a lot of clarity to them. These very large gemstones in the face of these large rubies. And but nothing's happening.
These statues feel very inviting. It's a very stark contrast to the terror of this door.
Can I try to sneak up on Osint?
I suppose.
Do I need to roll for that?
Yes.
What are you trying to do?
I just want to go behind him as he's talking and just be like, I think we should knock. But just
Do it.
like, just when he's least
roll a 6 against me.
Here, I'll show my dice on here. Ah!
Okay, you do that, and my wings react and knock you off this ledge.
Into the water.
I was hoping you would turn around and yell boo at him as he's sneaking up on you.
You did successfully startle me, but you got knocked off the ledge in the process.
And Raoul is down here. You can tell he's kind of doing some he's looking around, but he's whispering as if he's whispering prayers.
And I shouldn't have used this thing. I never get good rolls on this.
Sorry, did somebody else say they were trying something in particular?
Nope.
No, I was commenting on how the statues looked very inviting, but I go up to the door and with Luminous's words in my head, I just knock.
I'm kind of like twirling my war scythe because I haven't fought a big monster in a while.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited.
Do I even have any weapons anymore? Or have I just dropped them all?
whatever weapons
You
you
are
had.
a weapon.
You had, and I think it was, what did you have, a long sword and a bow?
I did, but I also do have, a gauntlet and a shield that I've yet to use at all in any of the battles. So maybe I should use that.
So technically your shield counts
You
as
have a shield?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Technically it's his dark stag shield that he hasn't used to swallow anything yet.
Yeah, apparently I can swallow something. I just haven't done it. Because I haven't thought about it until this moment when it says left hand, right hand, and neck.
But
About to swallow a dragon.
You go up, you knock, and there's this kind of the sound of the T-Rex kind of growling in Jurassic Park, the first movie.
So the fake T-Rex sound, not the real one.
Yeah, the one that's made of like bears and hippos and
have you
all
heard?
those things.
Have you ever heard the real one? Like
the one that sounds like a duck.
No, the one. That's
Sorry, I've never heard a real T-Rex roar. Not in my life.
No. So based on like its windpipe and stuff that they're trying to redo it, it's like this low, very low, like you feel the vibrations, you don't actually hear the sound, and it's just quite. It's actually quite terrifying.
So that's a good way to describe what this is. So there's this sort of vibration to the air, and this with the additional sort of animalistic sounds, and it just passes by, and that is what you hear. Nothing else seems to be happening.
I'm gonna put this in chat just so you know what I'm talking about. This is what I was referring to, the sound. If you want to play it for anyone, because it is kind of terrifying.
I just listened to it for a second. Okay. It's rumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be scary though.
Knowing that thing is tracking you.
That made it just sound like a fart over the speakers.
Excuse you.
Sounds like a really big bullfrog.
Yeah.
And we fought one of those.
So what do you guys do?
Do we knock again?
We tried Luminous's idea. Anyone else have any bright ideas?
I'm not known for my bright ideas. I think we all know that.
Is Raoul still just praying?
Yeah, he's making his way, but he's looking around very
Making my
carefully
way
at everything.
downtown.
I have an idea. Killian, what's your idea?
Oh, I don't have an idea. I said
What's
I'm
your
not
idea
known
to
for
ask
my
Killen
bright
what his idea is?
And depending on what it was, do the opposite if it was a bad idea.
I mean,
So
the closest thing I have to an idea right now is to run up and kick the door. So
is there any kind of handle or like visible way to open it ourselves?
No, so you don't see any kind of handle on the outside of this
Can I
door.
examine the statues and see if there's a way to open it by something they do?
Okay. So you go over and you're looking at the statue and taking a look at all the
I look
as many
at
details as you can,
okay.
and you can make a mind check
Okay.
or mind roll.
Oh, I need to re. Oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't hit the ground. I got a 6. We're on a roll
Okay.
right now.
And you look around at this, and you don't see any kind of like levers or mechanical parts to this thing, save for the fact that the one thing that doesn't seem to be made of the statue itself is the socket and the large gemstone in the eye.
Can I get a little close? I'm gonna climb up it, stand on its arm, and reach for the eye.
reach for the eye.
You you reach it and you sort of gingerly touch it and then pull your hand back, and it didn't hurt you or anything.
There's a snake in my boot.
Guys, this is different than the statue. Should I grab it, pull it out of its face?
That might be a way to summon the dragon.
Is there any like electrical field or anything around it that feels like it would like bring something to us?
You can make a mind roll.
Dragons do like their treasure, and most.
Dude, I am on a roll. I'm on a roll right now. Look
So
at this.
Morgan,
There's another 6.
Nice.
In my experience with
Mhm.
fighting large creatures, not that this dragon is necessarily titanic.
Or is it?
I said not necessarily. It could be. You're going to turn this into a question that I'm going to have to answer, but
Morgan never does that.
like, I already know how.
It's not like I made this whole system so that if I get stumped, I can just ask the players questions.
In my experience fighting big things and hunting big things, would I know something that might be beneficial in baiting a big dragon like this?
Roll a die and tell me what your number is. What was it?
2.
Oh, 2. You have had 2 encounters related to dragons. One was just seeing one in a distance, and one was coming across the remains of one that had been killed by a titan, which led you on the path to finding the titan. But for the second one that you got to see up close, all I need you to tell me are 2 colors. Any 2 colors that you want.
Purple and orange.
Okay. So what you determined when you guys were doing this, and this was a time you weren't with any of your close friends on this particular hunt. This was something that one of the people with you, one of the hunters with you, identified as a dusk dragon. And one of the sort of snippets of information that you learned at that time was that there are a huge varieties of different kinds of dragons. There, a lot of people think just by the way they look that they have to be like reptiles or something else, but they're technically not even that. They're their own category of creature, and and innately magical in nature, in almost every case, but that they do tend to hoard something. There's traditional stories of dragons hoarding wealth, but you also have the understanding that it might not just be what mortal creatures refer to as wealth that they consider valuable, but there is a tendency to hoard. And as far as what you know that was of interest and that's essentially what you know about dragons for your level of knowledge.
So in looking around, and I'll roll for this, does anything in these ruins or my surroundings indicate what it hoards?
You can make a mind roll.
3.
You don't get any particular idea based on that roll. If you want to re-roll it, I'll let you.
You want me to use a mind point to re-roll that?
Yeah, you'd have to use a mind point.
Sure, why not? Well, that was a 1, so
Yep.
Not helpful.
To answer your question, Luminous, as you're trying to feel like if there's some sort of field, get an idea of that, sort of sense the nature of any kind of magic. You don't necessarily feel an electric field per se, but there is absolutely some sort of aura and magical, let's say, how would you, there's magic suffusing the very air of this place, but what it exactly is difficult to determine.
Okay.
I want to back up from the door, but I want to make note of the noises that the stairs are making as I'm descending.
As you continue to step down, it's not every moment, but as you're just sort of focusing on it, it's almost like your steps themselves become this chiming sort of, almost like a wind chime, but more of a musical, very light, very subtle sound. But even as you pass the stairs and you're just on solid ground, it's as you think about it being your feet, and what I suppose you might be thinking about is, are there pressure plates or something that's activating this? You realize that it's any interaction in this space seems to be doing that, even as you examine the Luminous, like touching the gem, or Killen walking around, or Raoul brushing some moss aside. It's almost like every interaction, physical interaction in this space is occasionally making some kind of different chime sound.
What's the pitch of the chime sound? Is there like a certain octave and note that's being played? Are they the same every time, or is it different, like a song, like it's playing a song? Like if you play the right rhythm, then the door opens. Is my thought.
There are different tones happening. There are different tones happening, but what was your thing you were just saying, Jackson?
Osen's kind of walking around in a circle, trying to make sense of the pattern and the sounds.
Okay. Yes, you begin doing that. You are going around in sort of a rhythmic pattern and realize that you are making a very specific few tones depending on the exact, as you do the exact thing, the exact tones are happening until you get to the point where you're realizing that it's not the specific places you're stepping. It's because sometimes it's a different foot doing it as you're going around. It's the rhythm of your movement.
And just to clarify, we have zero remembrance of what happened in that glade.
Correct. You guys have only just knew that you were seeing some weird stuff, and then all of a sudden, poof, it was gone.
Sorry, what did we remember seeing, though?
You remember seeing the butterfly, you remember seeing the statues, and
Okay.
the pool. And then as you guys were basically contemplating what in the world could this be, what's going on here, it just disappeared.
So Osint does remember that the statues were dancing.
Yeah, they were kind of in a did I describe them as being in a dance
like a triangular formation, and they were dancing as in a pattern of movement over and over again.
Yes.
So he does remember that.
Yes, you do remember that.
Okay, so Osin starts doing whatever steps he can remember those statues doing.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys look, Osin is not only is he walking in a circle, but he's starting to make that triangular motion, trying to move his arms, everything in the same way. So I'll to do this in the way that you're attempting to, I want you to roll a mind check for the remembrance first.
4.
Okay.
Can I also roll for it as well? Seeing what he did maybe spark something that I.
Yeah. What do you want? What are you doing with your roll?
I wanted the roll, so like maybe I can also help. Like
as
maybe
I'm,
like
yeah, as I'm doing this, I'm saying aloud, I remember the only thing I remember from the time that we don't remember, the strange things we saw in that place. And then time afterwards was wrong. The things I was studying there were these statues that looked very similar to the ones here with these gemstones, and they were almost dancing in a pattern. I'm trying to remember what it was.
yeah. So I just wanted the roll as well in case like there's something I remember he didn't.
You're trying to roll for remembrance.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Make a mind roll.
Got a 3, so I'm no use.
Yeah,
I don't remember much.
What he said is what you got.
Yeah, I don't remember much. Killian, do you remember anything?
I don't remember what day it is right now.
Fair.
As you're doing this, you're also hearing the whisper of Father Raoul's voice. It sounds almost like it's emanating like a song in this area,
Sing-songy.
like a little bit sing-songy. Yes, and
So I mentioned to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mentioned to everyone what we were talking about hoarding and hoards not necessarily being what we would consider wealth from I don't want to say human perspective. That seems a little racist in this particular world. But I don't know, the musical nature of everything that we're seeing here, and the dancing and the steps and the acoustics of Father Raoul's prayers. This seems to be, I don't know how you hoard music, but this entire place seems built for beautiful sound. I don't know what to do with that information, but that's just something I thought of. La 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 la.
Dylan's doing
So-
warm-up vocals.
So as you intentionally try to make the sound, and
We start a barbershop with it.
and it does bounce around, but it's like, you can decide whether I mean, there is a history of song in your people's culture, so it's very well maybe that they actually are quite good singers, but even if you were attempting not to, it sounds better than what you intended.
The
Pull out
acoustics
my
in here
pipe.
are amazing.
Pull out my
Wow.
and play a little ditty.
You have a pan flute, is that right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You start doing that, and there's some sort of shifting in the trees a little bit, where there's a little bit of shaking in various places, and the pan flute music sounds beautiful and just better than you've ever heard your own playing before. It's like this place is lending to you more musical skill than you have ever had before.
I try to step in in rhythm with whatever Killen is playing, and
Okay.
like as much to my ability as I can dance, sort of like those statues were.
Okay. And Luminous, what are you doing when they're doing these two things?
I mean, I think for at least a little bit I'm watching because I'm not musically inclined whatsoever. So I'm just like watching for a second, and then I attempt to try to, sing or something to try to match the rhythm, and hopefully it doesn't sound awful.
Okay. So you start to do this, and it sounds really great. From that space as well as this high space. It even seems like you being at a higher elevation, you don't intend it, but you're actually sort of doing it at higher notes than you usually sing, and it seems like there's some pattern to that. And even as Raoul is continuing to do his prayers, they intermingle, and there's a lot of melody with them, with this sing-song sound happening. And finally, you hear not a growl this time. You can't see who is saying this, but you hear a voice say,
Curious. I did not imagine things like you to be willing to bring this kind of gift. Why are you here?
Awkward.
Well,
To have a logical conversation.
I don't know how to explain this. The Earth spoke to me and told me that it was hungry for dragon. I had no idea what it would point me toward, us toward. Your Excellency.
Your Honor?
Our friends are stuck, and we need. We're trying to save them. I was under the impression it just wanted a big animal. I am sorry for the imposition.
Animal. Huh.
I am not familiar with many dragons in where I come from.
And you thought you would find a dragon here?
That's what the Earth told me. But the Earth can be very stupid sometimes, so...
I have
Maybe we could
found that to
probably
be
trick it.
true as well.
What was that, Osen?
I said, which means we could probably trick it into thinking anything was a dragon.
We are humbly trying to save our friends, and this is where it sent us.
We did not. We did not imagine it bringing us to a place so beautiful.
Well,
Say that we did not imagine dragons such as you.
But we're waking up. We feel it in our
Hopefully, this
bones.
place is not radioactive.
quite the quandary. Quite the quandary indeed. You're not from here. Clearly. Although anyone who's come here recently has never been. There are so few of us left.
Who is us?
Well, for lack of better description, the originals.
The originals.
Vampire.
How were you, the four of you, planning to kill a dragon if you were intending to do such a thing? It seems like a small group, considering that it, at least in ages past, has taken armies.
I'm
Things
just here.
We were planning on improvising.
Things here in this place are not always as they seem to be at first, so
Some of
may
us
have-
are trained in the art of hunting titans, so we were seeing what we had to deal with.
Well, all of that is true and interesting. Perhaps still foolhardy. Though I do love a good improvisation.
Is it possible to kill the Earth?
You want to finish that thought there, Lucas?
I mean, there isn't really a thought. I mean, the Earth is wanting us to kill. Is wanting this dragon. Is there just?
It's always violence, isn't it?
You said you are one of the originals. Does this mean
Yes.
Does this mean that you are not a dragon at all, and the Earth has misled us?
Now, what is a dragon to you?
He's dragonborn confirmed.
Again, we did not know what to expect when we came here. Things are not always as they seem, so a dragon to one creature could be different from a dragon to another creature. Something of great.
Well, that was a
malice.
weird thing to say, but I'll accept it.
So as the trees again up top rustle and around, and you see almost this serpentine-like shape moving through the canopies very quietly. It's just the motion that you witness, and even that, as everything else interacts with the sound here, that's really quiet, as if it's supernaturally quiet.
We notice it like in our periphery.
Yeah, it's way up in the treetops, which these are about 80, 90 feet up.
Well, this is something to consider. Obviously, if you were coming here to destroy anything, you might imagine that I wouldn't be so keen on the idea. One of you suggested perhaps betraying the one that sent you on this task, and another one of you said that you're doing this to save your friends. Do I have this all correct?
Yes.
I don't know what's really going on. I was kind of trapped for a while, and I just kind of showed up here.
You're quite brazen, all of you.
We've had a long week.
As it shifts again, finally it gets sort of right over the area that's directly over the top of you. You can tell where the leaves have shifted that way. And as you're sort of looking up, it stops there.
Well, to be honest with you, I do want to survive. And the reality of it is very interesting. But your lives are so short anyway.
I do have a question for you. As an original, do you predate beings such as Granny Grin?
Granny Grims. Is that what she calls herself now?
That's
there's
what
so
we
many
have
of them.
known her as.
Have you met her yet?
We have not.
Tell you I would like her.
What? What'd you say?
I can tell you that I would like to. But
You
she's
would
been
like-
evasive. I would like to meet her. As she is now.
Is she also an original?
Hard to say. I think not.
Does that mean she is invading on your territory?
Well, territory is a strong word. I have the space I prefer. I keep it the way I want it. I've learned to be content. I prefer a smaller place, unlike some other of my brethren. And I find it's more valuable as it is because it is a rare commodity compared to everything else here.
The people that come here and offer you these gifts, as you call them, what do they receive in return?
Well, they're immortalized. In a sense.
That doesn't sound ominous.
Sacrifice.
I mean, we need to sacrifice.
Think about this
Who are we with?
length of your life. It's all has to be considered in perspective. Have you ever swatted a fly? I'm
No.
going to suspect you have. Well, perhaps you haven't, but at some point, you have not thought twice about swatting a mosquito or a fly, something else that, just because it was much smaller than you, it seemed to have less significance to you. You knew that it would die in a few days anyway. Maybe you didn't, but maybe you didn't care. You lost the nuisance, and your life went on. Who knows what the desires of the fly were? Who knows what the desires of the mosquito or the flea are? It doesn't matter when you are the larger being who lives many more years. But if that fly or that mosquito could, in a sublime moment, create something beautiful before going off to decay and wither, as all of its kind do, in a ghastly and terrible way, would it not be a kind of salvation for that creature? To give the music of its life, the most beautiful thing it will ever do, enhanced by the hand of something much stronger, much larger, much more wise, something with greater longevity. And then cease whatever suffering is to come after.
And what do you do with the sacrifice these beings make?
Sacrifice? No, I allow them to bring a gift to themselves. Imagine here in this space where you can create the most beautiful of things. You know, this world was spoken into existence. First there was thought, then there were words. And with words, music can be made. We're all extensions of that song from the very beginning. And here you get to relish the song within you, the song that you can let out. And I allow that to be the greatest gift you have because it is immortalized forever. Just like all the other sounds that your ears have been privy to here. I can make you into music, and you will never suffer again.
We
Don't you want to die beautifully? It's not like you're kind to get that opportunity often.
Beauty is a wonderful thing. And my people appreciate the beauty of the world and the beauty of a life well lived. And while your offer is in itself beautiful, beauty is different to each one. And we have suffered quite a bit since we've come to this place. And yet, it would, for many of us, be a tragedy to simply end here. There is beauty we desire elsewhere.
You can make a spirit roll to try to persuade.
My dice have been killing me lately. That would be a 2.
Did you want to use a spirit point on that? Do you have any?
Did we reset after last time or not?
No, I don't think you did.
Then I do not. I think I have a. Do I have a morale point still?
Those kind of went away, so I'll say that since we never used your last morale point, you can treat that as just another spirit roll if you want.
Alright, cool. 6, baby.
Okay. So this is going to be a series. This is a major challenge.
Interesting. So, you think that there is beauty out there, but you don't see that your life is a vapor. It is just as quickly extinguished as it begins.
James?
You yourself pointed out that we have, in fact, extinguished the life of a mosquito, of something that maybe we have thoughtlessly saw ourselves as more than or better than, and that is too a tragedy. What makes that life less than our life, less than your life, except for the trivial concept of time? If we are all part of the music, are you the one that makes the music? Is it you that gets to decide when the music of a particular note ends? Am I the one who decides that? Who makes the music?
You can make another roll.
4.
Of course, I'm not the creator of the music. I'm not the singer. I immortalize the voices, the purveyor. I understand your desire to continue. It's part of the song itself. But you don't see the beauty as I see it. All of the voices collected here becoming more than they could have ever been. Final, beautiful chimes to continue forever in sublime ecstasy of sound. You can go back into that jungle and you will suffer and you will die. And the world will not be any better for your ending that way.
Is
But
there
we're
not
here.
beauty? Is there not beauty in a minor chord?
Make a spirit roll with favor.
Pretty good.
6.
Minor chord. I don't have any minor chords. Very well, mortals. You've caught my interest. A minor chord. The slithering comes down, and out of the top of this treetops, this long serpentine body that looks like it's made of jungle vines with these 2 large antlers comes down and sort of wraps around everything that it can as it's going down, and it's got these large wings, and it lands there silently and looks down at all of you, raised up on its serpentine body, and it says, a minor chord. But if I were to slay you here, give you that gift, I cannot force you into a minor chord. I don't know how to make a minor chord. It's not within my ability. But that does indeed require tragedy, doesn't it? That is the nature of the way those chords work. I see. I see. Yes, I understand. Oh, this is brilliant. Finally. And to think that it was a mortal that gave me the perception that I needed. It arched its head down, so it is right there. Its antlers are near your antlers. Killing. Yes. Curious. All these scars, all these odd scents on you. You creatures are the kind to bring me a new perspective. So my quandary now is that I cannot make you into minor chords. However, I've been here a long time. I know every chime, every sound, and not a single minor chord, but I have heard them. I have heard them out in the jungle. They were raw. They are not beautiful. I know of only one way to make a minor chord beautiful. Yes. Do you know what I'm going to ask you to do?
I do not.
I'm going to ask you to give me this gift now. I will be your minor chord. And this place will finally have that small addition of tragedy to increase the effect and that sublime ecstasy of sound that I have been hoarding all of these years. Do what you have to do. And I will ensure that you get your friends back as I create the most beautiful space on this entire island. It arches its head down, breathes in, and rolls over onto its back, exposing its throat.
Can I just talk a dragon into unaliving itself?
That needs to go in the resume.
It begins doing this sort of this sound that it's almost, you can tell that it's making sound because you can feel the reverberations, but it's like you can't hear it because it is too beautiful.
I take the war scythe and I slit its throat.
All right. You pull it up, toss it in. As this blade of the scythe goes in, there's this sound that fills this space. And as you have some resistance there, you pull a little bit, and it goes into this sort of leaning toward minor. And it fills the space, and every time that you sort of reach up again, there's this chorus swell in this space. And then you bring it back down, and it makes this very dark but sweet echo and melody, all these actions, until finally this thing is completely dead as you take the last rip out with your scythe, and its head detaches from the rest of it right at its throat. And this sound that's gone everywhere here, you hear all these sounds swelling in this chorus, and then it sounds like what you can only describe as the musical chorus of a sense of freedom and release and thousands of voices that you can simultaneously, with one part of your mind, hear this amazing orchestral music, and in another part hear terrified screams. And finally it all dissipates, and the glow of this place just disappears, and whatever magic was here holding this place together, finally, you've heard the most beautiful music you will ever hear in your entire life. And this place ceases to be filled with magic. And you have the corpse of a sylvan dragon on the ground.
Dylan is openly weeping, both from killing this thing and from the music.
Osint is visually shaken by the fact that we just destroyed one of the most beautiful places he's ever seen.
Luminous is in shock as well and is still sitting on top of the statue, confused.
Raoul
Actually,
also
have chills right now.
Raoul also has some tears in his eyes, and he says, "Thank you for doing that. I don't know that I could have. We can save our allies now. But that was uniquely difficult to experience. I'm sure it must have been for you, especially being the one to give it what it wanted."
Dylan has no words. He just kind of nods. Not in a dismissive way, but yeah.
What do you guys do?
How big is this thing?
This thing is about, if it's all curled in on itself, the pile of it is like 20 feet wide, and so it's huge.
We have
If
to
it's
somehow
all
get it to the earth on the other side of where we came from.
Can my
As you-
shield can my shield swallow it?
let me see. Let's look at the way that your shield is set, because I don't think your shield actually.
Be right back.
Yeah.
It just says one character at a time. It doesn't
That's
say anything
right.
about size.
It sure does. So I'm gonna say sure. So you say, "Oh, I've got this." You come getting down off your statue, the shield that you haven't been using the entire adventure, that has the big stag antlers on it and looks like the stag face in the front. You command it to have its maw open, and this gross, like intro-like tongue that reminds you of the dark stags wraps around this dragon, and it pulls the corpse into it, and it just sort of all fits in. What you didn't anticipate is that it like scrapes the sides going in, and so all the extra like bits are falling off, and like juices from the inside of it, and then finally it gets pulled into it, and then the dragon's corpse is in this sort of extra dimensional space within the shield.
Well, that was easy. And they both missed it.
Like, how haven't at least Jackson's on his earbud, I think, and
Yeah, I can hear that whole thing. And Osin is again horrified at what is happening.
it's like every time you
Like-
find something beautiful,
Yeah, like
It's just ruined.
In Osin's mind, this is one of the most terrible things that's happened since we've gotten to this island.
No.
I think that's fair. Killian, we figured out the problem, so we're good to go.
Okay, cool.
Turns out I could just put it in my shield, so it's inside my shield.
So it's in an extra dimensional space in the mouth of his shield.
Nice.
Which is exciting, but also quite awful, as Osin is feeling.
And Raul sees you, Osin, as you end up making eye contact with him again. And he doesn't say anything. He just puts a hand on your shoulder, and you get the impression that if you end up wanting to talk at some point, that he absolutely will make himself available.
I nod to him politely, but stay completely silent.
Right. Now, do you guys want to head back to the area where the land was interacting with you?
Yes, but as we go, I am trying to replicate the music we just heard on my flute.
No music will ever sound good to you again.
No.
Yeah, Osin definitely has different feelings about Killen now too. Not for anything Killen did intentionally, because it had to be done, but it just like the whole situation has changed his mind about a lot of things.
Oh no.
It's almost like, for the first time, remembering the glorious space of your childhood and associating it with a space, and then seeing that happen.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
like,
for that.
No.
I didn't know the whole place was gonna lose its magic.
Can't believe you convinced it to kill it. I can't believe you convinced it to kill it. So let us kill it.
That line about the minor note, I was like, that is too good. I love that.
That is not remotely what I even wanted to happen.
I had something locked and loaded if you couldn't get it done, but then you did the minor note thing, and I was like, oh.
Saucy.
Also, I had no plan for how this character was going to be portrayed, so that was like, it worked out really well. I like halfway through figuring out that this was going to be musical. I didn't know any of that before I came in here.
I will say,
like my plan was just to convince him to let us live our lives of tragedy.
yeah, that was what I was.
Then
gonna
I was
say.
gonna bargain with him about going and helping him against Granny Grins. Like that's. I didn't plan for any of it.
I was gonna say some line about like,
but you didn't.
Having the music stop and what a tragedy that would be, and then
he
just like gave himself up. No, he was on a roll. I didn't want to stop him.
It was for a story perspective. That was really like, I like the way that happened. But
I mean, I do too.
I do too. Story
exactly
wise,
what I expected.
Also, when the Sylvan Dragon started talking, it was suspiciously like the end of the TV series that we're writing. With the stuff that I was coming up with about like the ending of it. When he was talking about swatting a fly.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. And
then I forgot about that.
And then I thought about the crystals, and I was thinking like souls trapped in crystals.
That's so funny. I didn't.
I was like,
even
is
put
Morgan
that together.
ripping off something that I wrote right now?
I feel like this is pretty distinctly a different genre at this point. I didn't even think of that.
I appreciated the life is like a vapor quote.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Which one of you said James?
Me.
Yeah.
I need to step away again from it.
All right.
Okay.
I
probably need to do the same in a second too.
All right, no worries.
But we can go ahead and make our way downtown.
Making our way. There's a car. You know what our neighborhood is like, so it's kind of not the place you'd expect this, but there's a car that every time it goes by the house, it'll like be playing like really loud rap music, and then the next song will be Kelly Clarkson. That exact song. And I'm like, what is going on with this car?
I saw that Terry Crews said when he passes away, he wants that song played at his funeral.
Yeah, that makes sense for him.
It's one of his more iconic roles.
It's iconic, yeah.
That movie is hilarious. Terrible, but hilarious.
So I have to do a biopsychosocial project for social work that involves writing about like a movie character as if they're a client, and I need like a character that has really severe issues of some sort.
Have you thought about Dexter from the TV show?
I think it has to be somebody that's not doing something actively illegal, because
okay,
it would make my project really short.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that
because I thought about like Baby Driver, because I love that movie, but he's actively doing things that could put people in harm's way, so it's an issue.
What about Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory?
Absolutely not.
What about Shrek from Shrek?
That's a great one.
Or Donkey?
Yeah.
What about the dragon from Shrek?
Shrek might be a good one, actually. All right, so you guys cross back over. Harris, just nod if this is the case. Will you need to be quiet, not speaking, or are you all right? Okay. I realized, was it yes, you need to be quiet? Okay.
Or yes, you don't need to be quiet.
All right, so as you pass back over here, I'm going to briefly take away Harris's agency. and as you actually, as you pass back over, you don't even need to initiate this, and all of you suddenly hear this. The land is intentionally trying to speak, and just to speak to all of you, and you all hear this sort of reverberating voice in this space.
Yeah, where is it? You betrayed me. Where is it? I need it. I'm hungry.
Do I just drop it out of my shield?
What do you want to do?
Is that what I should do? Before I give it to you, bring forth our people, so we know that you
don't even have it.
I do have it. I promise you, I have it. But how do I know I can trust you when you've already captured us once?
So make a spirit roll to persuade it.
I'm gonna re-roll that. Re-roll that again. We're gonna switch dice here. We got a 5.
Make sure you took your 2 spirit points off.
I did.
Okay.
I send back 1. Then you show me. Give me proof.
Do I have the ability to slightly show him what's in the shield without bringing the whole thing out?
You don't know, but you could try.
Can I try that?
All right. So you do this, and the entire dragon starts being pushed out of the shield. You realize that it's going to start just pouring out unless you close it.
So I'm going to close it and be like, there's your proof.
So in doing this, like an arm and part of the body gets like splurged out of the thing and chomped off as it lands on the ground there.
Yeah.
It's here. Yes. Finally. Okay. Here.
These portals, these rifts open. They seem a lot more volatile than before, even. Like it's shaking with anticipation. and it vomits these things out. You can actually hear this retching sound as it's doing it. As all of your companions are returned to this area, the ones that were in there. And let's see, make sure I got everybody here.
Should be, is it 6 people?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Amir. Let me get Amir. Where did he go? Where's his bald head? There he is. All right. Don't feed me.
I just dropped the rest of the dragon.
It all goes just grossly out of this thing and tumbles out into this area, and immediately all these rifts go around, start zapping this thing, trying to zap away like parts of it. The flesh are being taken in, and it's this gross sound of as it's happening. And finally, the entire thing disappears into these rifts. The rifts stabilize, and it's just oh, worried. Where's the? No, this isn't right. Where's the flavor? Where's the sustenance? What did you do?
We didn't do anything. I guess I'm the only one that can really talk, so. We didn't do anything to it. We just brought it like you asked.
No, it's not right. It's empty.
We need to run. Fair.
Where?
The ground starts trembling. And Raul goes over here and says, "Where's Carlos?" And this ground, as he's looking around, he realizes Carlos isn't here, and this ground starts to shake, and there's these rifts are starting to try to materialize, but it looks like they're having issues doing that. And then, as this is happening, you feel your feet start sinking down, as if the ground is starting to cave in right in that space, like it's trapping your feet there. Like it's
can I try to run?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I'm gonna assume everybody's trying that.
Yes.
And I'll have you just make a body roll, and I will roll for the rest of you guys. Unless you can. Yeah.
I got a 4.
Okay. And Osen, you have a 1. And there's a 1 for.
I think dude, the owlbear does not love you at all. It gives you low numbers.
But as this is happening, you guys are starting to be shaken around by this. You hear another.
What? No.
And this kind of pained scream from this thing as it. And then just silence. It stops shaking. And then there's nothing. And Carlos says, "Otago, do you have the crystal?" And Otago is starting to be able to move, and he slowly grabs the telepathy rod that's specifically attuned to Carlos's telepathy rod. He says, and he hands it over to Raul. And Raul says, "Brother, are you there?" And there's silence. And then a few moments later, through the telepathy rod, he gets a response. He turns something at the end of this rod. He motions over some glyphs on it, and you hear Raoul out loud, as if basically he put it on speaker, and he says, "I am here. We just had to finish the job that we started, getting rid of this thing. I'll find my way out." And so it seems like Raoul found a way to kill the source of the life of this region of Earth himself while he was in the caves.
Well, that's depressing now that the dragon's dead. Wasn't
Tragedy
even needed.
indeed.
You mean
Wasn't
Carlos?
even needed.
What's that?
You mean Carlos found a way to kill it?
Carlos did.
Okay.
So we didn't
Yeah.
need to kill the dragon after all, is what I'm hearing.
That's messed up, dude.
Depends on your perspective. So, we're going to end it there for tonight.
Yeah, heresy is.
But thanks for playing. This was an interesting one. A lot of improv. Did not know where that was going, but it eventually went where it went. So that, again, actually, I'll end it here in a moment after saying this, as you all are kind of struck with the fact that not only did the Earth get killed here, this creature that did return your friends, and maybe that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for what has occurred here. You're especially struck one tragedy after another that happens here. The very nature of this place. You've heard multiple people mention that it seems like this place just is interested in nothing but tragedy, and it's formulating more and more in your minds at this point that that is the nature of this place. And you've also heard that that's the nature of Grammy Grins. So you can only imagine how happy these things would make her if she happens to know about them. But
So do we take like an 8-hour rest now?
yeah, you can rest. But that's where we're gonna end it for tonight. And as far as experience points, I can add this for you guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say just see what this would be. Yeah, why not? We're just gonna go up by 100. So go to 490. I'll add this to everybody's.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
All right. Well, there we
That
go.
was an intense episode.
Yeah, not
We killed
actually
some
any
beautiful stuff.
not actually any combat, but but still
But
worked out.
much tragedy.
Much tragedy.
So wow,
It's a
much
Doge
tragedy.
thing. Wow, so wow, that's exactly what I was thinking. Well, there
See you
it
guys.
is. Good. At least it got you out on time,
ya.
on a reasonable time this time too.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right.
See y'all.
See ya.
Later.
Yeah. Eventually. I mean, it's really like an intent of the theme is that this is supposed to be an awful place to be. So
Well, that's
I feel like we're getting there. I feel like we're really getting
Oakson
there.
is very upset right now.
I feel like we're almost there. Yeah. I hope the
Ruining lives.
players aren't too upset. But
No, it story wise, it's awesome.
okay,
It was
good.
a very
good.
cool thing to happen, but character wise,
Okay, good.
is
I always get
messy.
nervous about that because it's like we determine that you guys legitimately care about your characters, but then it's like, and even canonically in game, in the meta portion of the game, that was like a theme of stuff of an episode, and then it's like, what is the nature of like, am I going to get upset by my character getting upset, And it's just a really interesting like way of thinking about how a game is played anyway to me. But like the way that you can invest emotions, like we do that with movies and shows and things, but the difference is in doing that over somebody that you have a lot of agency over, like completely fictional. Is all just really fascinating to me on like a psychological level. But hey, thanks for playing, guys.
Good games, guys.
Can't wait to send the gifts of this one.
I'm trying to think what in the world.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.